Isang bulan na mo orang cuma naman tagani ko ni rangon ni bibo ko tagani kay misa po. Niya na isang bulan na sir ko ni sana. Cuma kira na mo orang cuma. Tu na sile. Isang bulan, oyo Mr. Ben.
Kela po?
Na magkikira ni bibo mataka mo ni kira mo orang bukan main ono kinadiwa. Na Bula FM.
Ang betul sile.
Good evening, this is FBC News. I'm Jackie Spade. Tonight, Health Ministry in talks with Sayadri Hospital after it withdrew services. Expect more cyclones in the coming months. And Education Minister meets school managers around Fiji. The Sayadri Hospital in India has pulled out of its agreement with the Health Ministry to conduct open-heart surgeries here. Minister Chone Usumate wouldn't reveal the exact reasons, but says there are certain requirements that Sayadri needs to address.
12 patients booked for surgeries with doctors from Sayadri have missed out because the hospital withdrew services without telling the Fijian Health Ministry.
I've been advised by medical doctors here, if the hospital is not involved in India, then you have, if there's a complication that happens to one of the persons that has had an operation, we want to be sure that we can link back to that hospital for continuity of care.
Out of the 12, 3 have had their funds reimbursed. Another 3 who qualified for government assistance were sent to Fortis Hospital, also in India. The rest didn't meet the requirement. Usamate also confirms that one person due for surgery has passed away due to multiple organ failure, but the patient was not an emergency case. The National Federation Party has criticized the ministry for the way the whole issue is being handled.
It's the duty of the Minister for Health and the Ministry of Health to come out clearly and explain what happened. Whether one person has died or 2 persons has died is not the point. The point is every life is important.
We've had a lot of discussions with the group that we have. Discussions just took place yesterday. Always the ultimate purpose that I've told the people in the Ministry of Health is our most important ideal is to make sure that for those that have heart conditions, we must find the ways in which we continue to assist them.
Usamate says patients haven't been left in the dark and comments from the NFP are inaccurate. The ministry also has other parties interested in conducting coronary surgery in Fiji.
There are a lot of expressions of interest of people that have come through and expressed their interest, but we would generally look at them and go through a transparent process to identify them, and to identify those that we work with. In the meantime, we still have our arrangement with Sayadri that we're still working on.
The Health Ministry is concerned with the Sayadri Hospital's decision, but says it takes patient care and safety very seriously. It hopes to have the issue resolved as soon as possible. Sabira Tambua, FBC News.
About 3 tropical cyclones are expected to pass through Fiji waters this cyclone season. The Fiji Meteorological Service confirms the risks are higher this time around, and at least 1 cyclone is likely to be a Category 3. Julie Vatuwaliwali with this report.
It's highly likely that 3 tropical cyclones will pass close to or over the north and east of Fiji, meaning we will feel the effects.
It is critical that communities across Fiji act responsibly and pay close attention to all weather forecasts, warnings and advisories issued by the Fiji Meteorological Service and government.
The high-risk situation is the result of the same El Nino event that's causing prolonged dry spells around the country. Permanent Secretary for Infrastructure and Transport, Francis Kin, says the entire region is facing a high-risk situation with as many as 14 tropical cyclones predicted.
These predictions is given to alert the public and the general idea about what to expect for the upcoming cyclone season and not definite numbers.
Director Meteorological Services Ravin Kumar says a strategic plan for this cyclone season has been submitted to Cabinet for approval, but people need to be vigilant and prepare accordingly. The one upside to this is relief from the dry spell.
So with the upcoming tropical cyclone season, should the tropical depressions or severe weather come through this way, they should relieve the dry conditions that they are experiencing.
The government's plans for the 2015-2016 cyclone season are expected to be made known after Cabinet has signed off on proposals made by relevant agencies. Julie Vatualiwali, FBC News.
2 people appeared in the Nasino Magistrates Court this afternoon charged with wrongful confinement of a 3-year-old. A 42-year-old man and a 16-year-old boy have been remanded in custody and will be produced in court on November 5th for a plea. The 2 are alleged to have tied a child by his hands and legs to a post. The incident came to light after a photo of the toddler was posted on social media. They will appear in court on November 5th to plead to the charges. A 53-year-old pastor who faces 1 count of indecent assault pleaded not guilty in the Nasino Magistrates Court. Chone Dokanouto is alleged to have indecently assaulted a congregation member between January and July 2006 in Nandera, Nasino. The case will be called on October 27th for mention to confirm service of disclosures. The state had earlier objected to bail due to ongoing police investigation. Dokanouto remains in custody. Education Minister Dr. Mahendra Reddy says they're working with school managers in all divisions to ensure that they are in sync with what is required of them by the government. He was at Natambua High School today meeting with close to 100 managers from the rural and maritime areas. Madhyum Bolaitamana has more on this story.
Dr. Mahendra Reddy meeting with some important stakeholders in as far as service delivery goes.
The majority of the schools are owned by the faith-based groups and the committees, the public, while Ministry of Education provides the operating grant, the teachers and the curriculum. Hence, managers are a very important stakeholder of the education system.
Empowering school managers has been at the top of the agenda, coming off the back of some important lessons learned while in office.
One is the use of the free education grant. We need to now work very closely with the management to ensure that the funds are going to the right place. Unfortunately, when the funds were disbursed, we did not prepare the managers well. The thinking, the ideology, and in terms of understanding that the money belongs to the school system.
Dr. Reddy adds the government's role in providing a structure and policies is in no way overstepping the role of the organizations that manage the schools.
To the contrary, we want to recognize them more. It's the first time ever that we are now talking to them directly instead of them talking through the ministry through all different levels and not able to get the issue resolved in a very amicable time.
The minister will be meeting with school managers in the Northern Division this weekend. Madhyum Bolaitamana, FBC News.
We now join Madhyum Bolaitamana live in our West studio. Madhu, tell us more about the minister's visit.
Jackie, apart from pointing out the requirements of the ministry to the managers, it was also an opportune time to allow the managers to speak directly to the minister about their concerns, aspirations and challenges. The minister was in Ra yesterday, Nandi and Nanranga later this afternoon, and will be completing his tour in Maduata and Bua this weekend.
Still to come on FBC News, American iguana is still a problem in Taveuni.
मेरा चांद मुझे आया है नजर, ऐ रात जरा थम थम के गुजर. छाया है नशा मेरे आंखों पर, ऐ रात जरा थम थम के गुजर. रह जाए ना प्यासा मेरा प्यार, मेरे बाहों में भर दे मेरा यार, ऐ रात जरा थम थम के गुजर, ऐ रात जरा थम थम के गुजर. है दोस्तों, मैं हूं जितेन शांडिल. आप रात के बाद हमारे साथ अब रफ्तार प्रोग्राम में 3 से लेकर रात 7 के बीच शामिल हो सकते हैं. मिर्ची एफएम, इट्स हॉट.
The American iguana continues to be a problem in Taveuni. The Biosecurity Authority of Fiji says although people are concerned about the iguanas damaging crops and vegetation, there is no risk to food security on the island. Akusita Tale has more.
The Biosecurity Authority of Fiji has dismissed claims that Ngame, Taveuni, Matangi and Lodala Island have been ravaged by the invasive American iguana.
There has been claims that there is more than 10,000 iguana on the island of Gamea and so on. But I must repeat that there is not the case. And there is a team basically based in Gamea with temporary biosecurity officers who are every day basically tasked to basically go and physically look for iguana and catch and basically cull.
Earlier this year, the RFMF and BEF had a joint operation to wipe out the invasive species. While it was successful, people in the affected islands are being warned not to transport these iguanas out of Ngamea, Taveuni, Matangi and Lodala Island.
We request the assistance of public, basically in terms of assisting us in terms of with the emergency declaration we have in place. So under emergency declaration, the movement is prohibited. You're not allowed to move iguana or any matter related to iguana. So I urge everyone to assist Biosecurity Fiji in terms of containing and eradicating the whole issue of iguana.
Anyone found carrying or breeding the iguanas can be fined $40,000. No one's been caught, but BEF believes people are responsible for moving the American iguana across the 4 affected islands. Biosecurity officers based in Sabu Sabu and Lambasa are strictly monitoring airports and wharves. Akusita Tale, FBC News.
A man appeared in the Nandi Magistrates Court this afternoon charged with forging signatures on documents to export vegetables to New Zealand. Magistrate Turanga adjourned the case to the 4th of December for mention. Villagers of Ngelekuro in Tailevu now don't have to worry about the quality of their drinking water anymore. Their new water system was opened by the Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama this morning. Eleanor Turangaiviu was in Ngelekuro and files this report.
The first ever piped water for Ngelekuro villagers.
From when we were in school, we have always used the river for everything. Bathing in the mornings and afternoons, bringing water from home for cooking, and we just washed at the river. It was really hard before. Now it's much easier. I am old now, but I know it will benefit my grandchildren and those to come.
To the village, 85 households to be exact, cost over $100,000.
I want to thank the Prime Minister for leaving his high office and coming down here to us, the grassroots people, and to open our new water system.
The request for a new clean and safe water supply came on the back of a survey report by the Rural Local Authority last year that the village water source is not safe for consumption.
We have had to fast-track this project as a matter of urgency after the Ministry of Health warned about the health risks of drinking from the old water supply. We have taken that warning very seriously, making this project of the highest priority. And I have taken a personal interest in making sure the work was commissioned and undertaken as fast as possible.
Funded by the government through the Water Authority of Fiji and a $9,000 contribution from the villagers, the new water system will supply the daily demand of 68,000 litres.
It is a major improvement in the lives of the people of Ngelekuro and a major investment in your futures, providing you with a safe, secure supply of water to drink and to wash with now and for many years to come.
The construction of the project started early this year and was completed 2 weeks ago. Eleanor Turangaiviu, FBC News.
The Robert C. Siemens, a U.S. vessel moored in Suva Harbour, has held an open day for marine science students to showcase their voyaging expertise. Maggie Boyle was on board and filed this report.
What we can find in these bottom samples is not just a sense
an educational institution on the ocean, birthed in Fiji waters this week.
The crew of the Robert C. Siemens are no ordinary shipmates. These marine science students are accompanied by actual scientists.
Sea Association is this fantastic organization in the United States of which I'm very proud. They're co-located with one of our most impressive oceanographic institutes in Woods Hole, Massachusetts. They are affiliated with Boston University. And if I can bring them together with local institutions such as the University of South Pacific and government officials and scientists here in Fiji so that they can exchange ideas on how to better understand our oceans and later use that knowledge to protect this valuable resource.
She's a floating classroom with a difference. The Robert C. Siemens is taking navigational science to another level with a data collection here, a telltale sign of our ocean's health.
Living and breathing the science of oceanography, marine biology and cultural significance, to name a few. For these second-year marine science students, the experience has been well worth it.
When I was really small, I saw this kind of cool, very cool ad on TV. It had the on how to save the whales. They were doing a campaign on saving whales, and I was kind of interested in doing that.
The ship will leave Fiji later this week, heading to New Zealand. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
The University of the South Pacific today kicked off a 3-day blood drive at its Laucala campus in Suva. USP is calling it the Vampire Shield Competition, and the faculty with the most donations wins the shield and $500 cash. Deputy Vice-Chancellor Richard Cole says this gives students and staff a chance to help the Health Ministry build its blood bank and show USP's social responsibility.
Blood donations which are related to service to the community I think is a very important part of any graduate, and we want our graduates to leave the university feeling that they're part of a community, that they have a right and an obligation to contribute to the community, and this is just one way to do that.
They hope the blood drive will become an annual event. The 2015 Miss Fiji Beauty pageant started with its first public judging last night. Representing 10 municipalities, contestants got to showcase and describe their Itauke traditional attire to the judges. The crowd in Nandi were also treated to some entertainment. The event was held at the Prince Charles Park, where the winner will be crowned on Sunday. And on that note, we turn to sports now. Here's Jamie with the latest.
Thank you, Jackie, and good evening. After the break, we speak to Pauliasi Ratu on some of the problems that have plagued boxing in Fiji. And we have the day's results from the primary school's IDC. This and more coming up.
Imbula bina na turanga na marama na turbugi na ngone leo. Imbula bina rangone. Kanuita kini marata itiron da bitingom yan na bio liba ni Radio Fiji 1 na bay viti na bonga ni biyan yan. Oya upio ratuanga na muni daw ni bengravi. Na makia mo daw no kita tiri karua moniti kina barumbuka. Ene wasini ngone baruta ki kilo mani koro iluto na karomo.
The lack of basic boxing skills is a major hurdle for prize fighters in Fiji. This is the view of National Amateur Boxing coach Pauliasi Ratu, who hopes that building the knowledge of local mentors and trainers will lead to a great improvement from local fighters in the ring. Talindau Dakadaka joins us live now from the Defence Club in Suva with more on this.
Yes, Jamie, I'm here at the Defence Club in Suva for a prostate cancer awareness event organized by the Suva Golden Oldies Rugby Club. The club has just donated $26,000 to the Ministry of Health to help fight prostate cancer in the country. And Minister for Health, Tony Usamate, is here to accept the money for the worthy cause. But turning to boxing, yes, amateur boxing is fighting a battle of its own. After a mixed performance at the Pacific Games in Papua New Guinea, there's been a poor standard of boxing witnessed in the local ring. And national coach Pauliasi Ratu is looking to rectify this soon.
The Fiji Amateur Boxing Association says the slow revival of the sport in the country is due to one particular factor.
The problem we have in Fiji at the moment is the lack of basic in boxing. That is the biggest downfall of Fiji boxing. We have to improve on that, especially the coaches to teach them the basic of boxing. And I think that will help Fiji boxing.
FABA is determined to push forward for development programs, starting with local coaches and trainers.
Maybe we'll try to look for some time and go around and try to educate the coaches in terms of the basic and the skills of the boxers.
Ratu, a former light heavyweight champion, believes that armed with the right skill set, Fiji can produce wonders in the ring. Challenge Odakataka, FBC Sports.
Vodafone Fiji football coach Frank Farina confirms that he will be selecting a few players from the under-23 squad to don the senior jumper for the upcoming match against Vanuatu. He says it will be good build-up for them prior to the Rio Olympics.
There'll definitely be camps for the under-23s. This is the national team that will go to Vanuatu. There may be a few under-23 players included in that squad, but certainly there'll be more training camps and games for the under-23s before Rio.
The team marched into camp last Sunday to prepare for 2 friendly international matches against Vanuatu next month. Ba will play Sengaga in the final of the under-12 division at the 40th Bongo Primary School's Inter-District Championships underway in Lambasa. Ba proved too strong for Ndriketi in the semi-final, finishing with a 3-0 win. In the second semi-final, Sengaga defeated Nandrunga 1-0 in extra time. Meanwhile, the under-14 grade quarterfinals have been confirmed. Rewa will play Sengaga, Lambasa takes on Lautoka. Defending champions Mba will meet Mbua, while Nandi face the might of Nasinu. Games continue at the Guru Nanak Primary School grounds in Lambasa, with the finals to be played tomorrow. The Rugby World Cup quarter-final win was special for the Wallabies, but it was a bit extra special for one player. It was Captain Stephen Moore's 100th cap for Australia. Australia meet Argentina in the semi-final at 4 a.m. on Monday, while at 3 a.m. on Sunday, the All Blacks play South Africa. You can watch both these matches live on FBC TV. That is your sports for tonight. Good evening.
Telecommunications company Digicel is still waiting for its broadcast license before it can take over Sky Pacific, the regionally based subscription television service. CEO Darren McLean says they're ready to launch as soon as the Ministry of Communication hands over the license. Maggie Boyle tells us more.
We're ready to go.
Patience, they say, is a virtue, and it's one Digicel has in spades while waiting to take over Sky Pacific operations.
From our perspective, we're very excited about this. We're still very committed to this acquisition. We're through all those critical negotiation stages, paid a significant deposit on this business. We're all ready to go. We've got employment contracts drawn up for the staff the Sky staff who we're bringing over. We've got premises, stock, you name it, we're ready to go. And so we're just eagerly awaiting the sign-off of the special licence.
Darren McLean says their broadcast business is in limbo until the green light from the government. Media announcements earlier this month announcing the takeover backfired. The government intervened to say that the licence was still under consideration.
We can't take over the business legally, formally, and complete the transaction until the special licence is concluded. It's a very specific condition of the transaction.
Minister for Communications Aya Saeed Qayyum had earlier commented that the licence is still being processed and a decision will be made in due time. Maggie Boyle, FBC News.
Generally a fine day across Fiji with no reports of rain, although 1 or 2 areas in the east may have had a few brief morning showers. It was warm across the country with Lautoka and Nandi hitting the highest at 30 degrees. All other major centres were in the high 20s and Sabu Sabu the coolest at 27. Expect another warm, humid night tonight. The hot weather will continue under hazy skies across Viti level and Vanua level with a slight chance of showers in the east. And the further outlook is more of the same, moderate to rough seas. And recapping the main stories, Health Ministry negotiations with Sayadri Hospital, which has withdrawn services. More tropical cyclones expected in the coming months, and 2 charged with wrongful confinement for tying a child to a pole. In our poll question this week, we're asking, should the South African diplomat allegedly involved in a fatal accident return to Fiji to face charges? Visit our FBC website to take part. Remember, you can send us newsworthy pictures and videos on email citizenseyes@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via Facebook page FBC News. And if you're on Twitter, follow and tweet us your news tips at FBC_news or simply #FBC News. You've been watching FBC News. I'm Jackie Spade. Bye for now.